thank you for inviting me. Okay, so my name is Fang. I'm assistant professor in physics at UCF. So as I mentioned earlier, before I moved to Orlando, I was a research scientist in Dr. DeMaro's group, and that is a AMO group. I will talk about what is AMO research. And then that is back in 2019. I moved here, and just we'll start with introduction of the campus and of Orlando, the city. And since I have lived in both cities, Columbus and Orlando, and also Ohio State, the Ohio State University, and also UCF, I can tell you the difference. And there's a good and bad. You see. So I will share my screen. Can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Hold on. Okay, you should, I think, be able to do it now.
Yep.
Cool, and I can see, yeah, I can see your slides. So.
Okay. All right. So I will start with where I am and where you are. So see the map on the left. This is where the buggy eyes is. And there's only like less than 15 hours drive from OSU to UCF. So it's basically a day trip. If you wanna, after the pandemic, you wanna have a visit to the campus, it's not so difficult. And especially in the winter, and right now we're like probably springtime. The weather's like springtime in Columbus. And this is the bird's view of the campus. And so they have when I first came here, or before I came here, I kind of would check the map and to look at the campus. It's an interesting shape. It's like an onion shell. And you can see this is the main road on campus. And the center area here, let me put my pointer. Okay. So the center area is the student union. That's where a lot of the student activities take place. And also there are restaurants for students and also for people on campus. And I'll show later. So the physics building is around here, and also Quill. So Quill is the college for College of Photonics and Optics. And this region, you see the blue part. This is it's the main fountain on campus. And as you see on the figure on the right, so this is what it looks like. So the campus is like a green around the season, around the year. All the season, the campus looks green. It's the trees and the grass is all green. It's different from I think from Ohio State campus. In the winter, you will see the color changes, and also in the fall, I think you will see yellow colors in front of the physics building at Ohio State, right? So if you like palm trees, and on campus you will see a lot of palm trees. It's basically in Florida, you will see this is those cute trees. They have the big head, and you will see a beautiful sunset on campus. And those photos I took myself on campus, and the UCF campus is more like a natural setting, and you will see wild animals. This is I took in the parking lot. I see the crane, and they're like everywhere. And also they do eat. I found that actually it's interesting that one day I found that actually they eat lizards. There's a lot of lizards in Orlando, and this their food. They're definitely not vegetarian. And this photo is I took at the Kennedy Space Center. It's pretty cool. And this figure is I took just outside my apartment. So Orlando, you can see on the map, is close to the coast. It's about 40 minutes drive from UCF to to the coast. And UCF is about, I think, half or maybe half or 40 minutes drive from downtown Orlando. And in the rain season, you do see a lot of thunderstorms, and you will see like awesome lightning scenes. If you just wait, and you can catch those photos yourself. So about city, I know it's research programs are very important, but when I want to present to the students and to you that if you spend like 4 to maybe 8 years of your graduate student life in a place, and you want to have kind of idea what kind of lab you'll have outside labs and outside classrooms. So Orlando is a city of tourism, as you probably know. That I think most famous is the Disney World, and also we have the Kennedy Space Center, and also Universal Studio Orlando, and also it's a lot of Orlando has a nickname of the city of beautiful. So the natural thing is fantastic, and also we have special, very unique museums in cities not far away from UCF and around city downtown Orlando. Okay. So more about the location, and this is downtown Orlando. In this Winter Park is a premium city. You'll find high-end restaurants and also entertainments. And this is UCF. And we have the international airport is only, I think, about 20 minutes drive from downtown, or 30 minutes drive from UCF. And this is the theme park area. It's just like a 40 minutes drive from, I think, downtown area. And UCF, as you see on the map here, is only about 5 minutes drive to the Kennedy Space Center. If you have any question, you can just ask anytime. Okay, so the figure here shows that we're expanding and growing fast. And you see have on the year of 2018, we have fundings of $183 million. And Quill is the College of Optics and Photonics, and also has about $16 million fundings. And so this is the close look at the campus from the first view. And this is physics building and Quill, and the research one. Research one building is a building for interdisciplinary research, and some of our faculty members have their research labs in research building one. Okay, so now we'll move on to the physics graduate program. So this is an overview, and UCF it doesn't have a long history as OSU, but we're growing very fast. So the physics department has a core faculty members of 57 core faculty members, and other joint or affiliated faculty members will have 12. And we have about 12 postdocs, and this is growing, this is increasing number. And other staffs, 11 other staff members. And there it's quite common and common that we have visitors from outside. And in the year of 2018 to 2019, we have invited 26 speakers from outside UCF to give colloquiums. And during this academic year, we have enrolled to about 200 undergrad students. I think UCF is about similar size, or is about same size or OSU in terms of student population. And in total, we have average about 7 students for master's degrees and 90 students for PhD degrees. Then point out UCF, the physics program ranks 61 nationwide, and particularly we have very strong AMO program, which ranks 12 nationwide. So, and last year we have applications, 30 applications for a master degree program and 189 applications for the PhD degree programs. So I think that one good thing about UCF physics program, and also in general at UCF, we have a diverse student body. So in physics department, we have around 100, about 100 grad students, and there's 32% of students are female students. As you may already know that in physics, female students are attendance is relatively lower than other major, and 32% is pretty good. And among the 100 graduate students, more than 25% of them are from underrepresented groups. And 40% of students are doctoral, they are in the PhD programs, and 6% of them are in the master program. And 40% of students are international students, and 60% is domestic students. So we have a broad range of research areas that faculty members carry out. The first one I like to introduce is the atomic molecular optical physics. That is a strong program we have at UCF. I mentioned in the previous slide, and we have this program ranks 12 nationwide. And specifically, we have very strong attosecond physics program. So I will talk more about AMO program and introduce attosecond physics or femtosecond physics in the next few slides. And so in this program, we study light matter interaction, particularly with photons. So in this program, several of our faculty members, they use laser and especially ultra-fast lasers to study the photo absorption or the photo interaction with molecules and atoms, and also particles in materials in solid phase. And we have also research areas regarding nanophotonics, and also X-ray spectroscopy, and also ultra-cold collisions. And as I mentioned, many of our faculty members in this research area use lasers. So it's we have strong connection between COIL, the College of Optics and Photonics. And also we have a very good Planetary Sciences. And I'll play a video clip, and one of the faculty members from each research areas will give more details about those research areas, and condensed matter physics and biophysics. Physics education research. This is a research area I think you cannot find anywhere in other universities. And this is their research is specifically about education, physics education, and there's a specific scientific approach they use in this type of research, and also nanoscience, and also mathematical and computational physics, quantum information. So if you don't have time to read all the details, anyways, I will provide those slides, and you can. I will share the slides with you after the presentation. So we also offer opportunities for studies outside of UCF and in other countries outside outside US. And we have programs that students can participate research projects or study programs in France, Japan, and Rome. And this is all established programs. Okay, so this is something I want to show you that I think as students in the OSU, the first year students very common that they will get support, financial support as a TA. So about 40% of grad students are supported with TA-ship. That is about 10 to 20 new students in the fall semester. So you have a decent stipend per year, and also tuition waiver, and the health insurance is free for students. Okay, and the duties for GTA is very common as in other universities, and you will it's not very heavy load as I heard, and students for GTAs will perform a variety of different duties, including teaching or assisting labs or classroom grading, proctoring, or mentoring, tutoring. So it's not in the first year with a TA-ship, you should be able to taking courses, and also some of the students in the first year already participate in research. They will contact professors and being part of the research activities starting in the first or the second semester. That's not as it's also getting more common. So the next, I will, because my research area is AMO, and as I said, it stands for Atomic, Molecular, and Optical Physics. So I will spend a few more minutes to just give some more information about this program. So at UCF, AMO I think it's in physics, it's the strongest program. And we have total 6 faculty members, Dr. Ajandi, Chanda, and Dr. Chang, Chini, me, and Dr. Kukuling. And Dr. Kukuling and Ajandi, they are theorists, and the rest of us, we are experimentalists. So we have pretty strong community with both theoreticians and also experimentalists. So here I'm showing you the research information about research carried out by each of the faculty members in AMO program. So Dr. Chang is the director of IFAST. IFAST is Institute for Frontier of Attosecond Science and Technology. And so a little more about ultrafast science and attosecond sciences. So the number here is in unit of second. That describes the duration of a laser pulse. So you may, if you use a laser pointer, that's very weak CW laser. And so here we're talking about laser pulses. So they are not, it's pulsed, it's not CW. And each pulse has a duration of very short duration. That's 10 to the minus 8 seconds. So to give you an example how short it is, do you know the time for eye blink? It's about quarter second. So quarter second is like a 0.25 second. So now the laser pulse duration we're talking about here is 10 to the minus 18. So that is basically the time scale that the electron will circle around inside the atom. So that is the time scale of the motion of the electron. And so in Dr. Chang's lab, they can even do the next step to make it even faster or shorter, down to 10 to minus 20 seconds. And this is the pulse duration. It is the laser in the X-ray region. So in Dr. Chang's lab or in IFAST, they build a laser that generate the fastest laser on Earth. So the laser system provides 53 attosecond X-ray pulses. So this is it's very cool to me. It's very exciting to have a laser system that is the fastest on the Earth. And Dr. Chin's lab is they also use ultra-fast laser, attosecond lasers, and they study solids. And they studied fundamental phenomena in strong field laser interaction with solids. And also they have the research projects that aims to ultra-fast control of quantum and topological materials. And they have a pretty good project developing ultra-fast lasers, especially attosecond lasers. So the next is my research. So in my research, I also use attosecond pulses, and I wanted to probe the motion of electrons. And so the motion of electrons is a starting point of chemical reactions. So by investigating how the electrons move and what is the energies they carry during the chemical reaction or photo interaction, we can get information how those processes start, and if we can have some control scheme to control the electron motion, we are likely to find controlling scheme of chemical reactions as well. I also study the interaction with using the X-ray pulses from free electron lasers. So the photo here is the free electron laser facility. It is a large facility. This is at the SLAC National Laboratory that's associated with Stanford University. And you can see this is like a 2 miles long laser injection tunnel. And so the entire facility is large scale. And typically experiments took place at the facilities like large collaborations. We'll collaborate with different research groups from within the US, from different institutions, and also from international institutions. And I remember the first paper we got out of the first experiment took place at SLAC. There are like 30 people co-authored. Another project research area I'm interested in is plasma physics. It's not traditional plasma physics, but still we use clusters. We generate nanoplasma in clusters. The clusters are ensemble of atoms or molecules, and they're glued together with weak forces as such as van der Waals forces. So when we shoot laser on those nanoparticles, the clusters, they're nano size, and we can generate highly energetic ions and electrons. So for example, the energy from the chemical bonds in the molecule is like a few electron volts. And in clusters or in nanoplasmas, the energy with the ions we can generate can have energies up to several thousand electron volts. So what that means is the cluster or the nanoplasma can be a good storage source for photon energies. Okay, and we also have faculty members like Professor Chanda, who leads the nano-optical laboratory. So I'm sorry, this is I moved the slides to combine with the current slide, so there's like a mismatch of the fonts. So in his research, he do research like doing novel devices that for nanoscale, like energy harvesting, and he designed and developed high throughput and laser scale and a low cost fabrication of optical nanostructures. And also his research involves strong coupling between photonic and plasmonic resonances and trapping light in thin film. So here is an example of the thin film project he's doing. And Professor Argenti and also Professor Kukulin, they are theoreticians. And Professor Argenti is a collaborator with with Dr. DeMauro at OSU, and he carries out theoretical calculations that studies the motion or the dynamics of electrons in molecules and atoms when they interact with photons. He studied like a charge transport processes in correlated electronic systems by solving time-independent Schrodinger equations. So Dr. Kukulin's research involves atomic and molecular collision processes. And he studied like recombination process and electron attachment, and also the quantum processes. All right. So I'm going to stop the slides here and start to play the video. So far, do you have any questions? So,
Could you explain a little bit more what you were doing at Slack? I didn't fully understand what you were what your research, how you're using Slack in your work.
All right, I'm trying to get back. Okay, so at Slack, the Slack stands for a linear accelerator center. So the accelerator will produce the X-ray source. Let me start from, so how it generates, it's basically you accelerate electrons, and the electron will move very at high speed. And when you accelerate them, if you can recall, maybe you have learned the Maxwell equations. If you change the either direction or the speed of the electron, they will radiate, and the radiation can be in the regime of X-rays. So at Slack, the Slack is well known for ultra fast X-ray pulses. And if you go to other facilities, you may have X-ray sources, but it's more like a very long pulses. At a Slack, you can have femtosecond X-ray pulses. So a femtosecond is 10 to the minus 15 second. That's very short. And femtosecond actually is the time scale for the motion of ions, of the nuclei. So at Slack, we use the X-ray pulses to ionize or destroy atoms or molecules. So basically, the molecules and atoms will absorb X-ray photons, and the electron will be stripped off. So you will generate ions, and those ions are not stable. They will take apart and then release energetic ions. So the interesting part is X-ray can be used as there's a called X-ray spectroscopy. So if you see the figure here, this is like this is the atomic structure. And you have the inner shell and the electrons in the inner shell, and inner valence shell and the valence shell. So if you have a regular laser like near infrared laser, this is the inner valence shell electron will absorb photons and leave. Now you have X-ray. X-ray laser can have high photon energy. So the photon energy can be higher than the binding energy of the most inner shell electrons. So what that means is those electrons will absorb photons and get out of the atoms or molecules, and then leave the system highly excited. So what does that mean, highly excited? That means they will have some rearrangement of electrons. So for example, you have electrons moving out of the inner shell, and other electron will try to fill the hole. And then during the process, the electron will fall into the hole created by the X-ray. Other electrons will have the energy to go out, to leave the atoms or molecules. So we're interested to see with the ultra-fast X-ray lasers, we can track the motion of those of those nuclei, those ions, and see how they respond to intense and short active pulses. And also, this is since X-ray can use as a tool to specify chemical species, because different chemical species have a different absorption of X-ray energies, and you can use them to really tell, oh, if we have a carbon or we have oxygen or have nitrogen as the constituent atom in certain big molecules or also small molecules. So now you can specify the chemical constituents, and then you can probe in time what happens to the molecules. So basically, if you have two pulses, you can have one pulse start the dynamics, and the second pulse comes in and to mark down where are to probe the energies and also the flying directions of the ions. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. No, that's interesting. I hadn't. I work in high energy, so I know SLAC from its applications to that. So I didn't actually.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, this is so my research at SLAC is slightly different from the high energy group.
Yeah.
So we're more use the X-ray. We use X-ray to initiate the dynamics in molecules and atoms, and then probe instead of just aiming to generate very high energy particles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Thank you
for the question. So I'll stop sharing this before, and I'll play the beta tape. Okay, can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Okay. Can you hear the sound?
The mission of the Department of Physics of the University of Central Florida is to provide education and perform research in physics at the highest level. The UCF Department of Physics currently has as many domestic students as international students, a ratio of about 50-50, and the numbers are increasing.
We have about 100 PhD students and a few master students, and we admit new ones. We admit about 20 every single year.
The goal is not only to increase the number of domestic and international students, but to increase the number of female students in their department.
My current research is actually specifically on promoting women in physics. 1 in every 5 physicists is a woman, and these numbers have to go up.
The UCF Department of Physics became an American Physical Society Bridge Program site in 2015, with the goal of recruiting, mentoring, and preparing underrepresented minority students for admission to a physics PhD program. Students admitted to the UCF Bridge program are fully integrated into the graduate program from the time they join the department. Bridge Fellows receive financial support, tuition waivers, and free health insurance during their first year. Applications for the American Physical Society Bridge program open early December and close mid-March. Applications to the UCF Physics graduate program are received from all over the world. Interested applicants should apply by the priority deadline of January 15th in order to be considered for assistantship and/or fellowship opportunities. Why should you consider applying to the UCF Physics graduate program? The UCF Physics faculty are continuously pushing boundaries involved in a diverse group of research areas.
We have a very strong group of students, a very strong group of faculty. The physics faculty is one of the biggest takers of these research and teaching awards.
Once admitted to the graduate program, Physics graduate students have the opportunity to work with faculty at UCF or other partnership institutions. Interested applicants are encouraged to contact the Department of Physics faculty to inquire about research opportunities in their field of interest. Applicants that are admitted to the Physics PhD program and receive a graduate teaching assistantship their first year also receive free health insurance and tuition waiver. Physics graduate students have 7 years to complete their graduate degree. Upon graduation, they have the opportunity to work in industry or academia.
Recently, I came to the conclusion that I want to go into academia. Just seems like there's a lot of freedom in research.
If you would like to further your study in physics at UCF, please consider applying to one of our graduate programs. For more information and how to apply, please visit www.graduate.ucf.edu.
Welcome everyone to the UCF Physics Graduate Program Virtual Open House. My name is Dr. Carrie Donaldson-Hanna, and I'm an assistant professor within the Planetary Sciences group in the Department of Physics. Today, I'll be giving you an overview of the Planetary Sciences research going on at UCF. To start, I thought I would highlight my own research, which focuses on the study of airless bodies in our solar system, and those are planetary bodies like the Moon, Mercury, and asteroids, things that basically don't have atmospheres. In the lab, shown in the picture above, I use state-of-the-art environment chambers that are capable of simulating conditions on airless bodies like the Moon to study samples that have been returned from those planetary bodies. And so in the metal vial that I'm holding, I'm actually holding lunar regolith that was brought back to the Earth from the Apollo astronauts. I can measure that lunar sample in my lab and then compare that to observations made by spacecraft orbiting the Moon. It's a lot of fun, and it's some pretty cool results that have come out of that research. Planetary science and space research has grown dramatically at UCF within the last 2 decades, and now includes work done within the UCF's Department of Physics, as well as at Arecibo Observatory and at the Florida Space Institute. Our research focuses on 3 major themes. First, observing the universe. Second, space instrumentation and missions. And third, enabling exploration of the solar system. And I'm going to touch on each of those in the next few slides. We use observations from Earth and space-based telescopes to study objects within our own solar system. And those include asteroids, comets, Mercury, the Moon, trans-Neptunian objects, as well as Kuiper Belt objects. One of the telescopes we use and now manage is Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. And this telescope is world-renowned for its capabilities of making radar observations of planetary bodies. We also have faculty and researchers focused on planets orbiting other stars, known as exoplanets. We conduct research in the laboratory with experimental setups. We build instrumentation that fly in the microgravity environment of the International Space Station and in reduced gravity flights like the ones on the Vomit Comet. And we participate in missions where we use observations from spacecraft to better understand our solar system. Faculty are currently involved in several missions, including NASA's Lucy mission to the Trojan asteroids, New Horizons, which flew by Pluto and Charon, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is currently in orbit about the Moon, making temperature maps of its surface, and OSIRIS-REx, which will soon be collecting a sample from asteroid Bennu. So keep your eyes peeled for that one on October 20th when the sampling occurs. Finally, we also enable the exploration of space through other facets. 2 of the outstanding ways are through the class Exolith Lab, which provides regolith simulant samples to scientists and engineers around the world with materials to engineer and design tools to navigate and sample planetary bodies and better understand how volatiles like water and ice can be used as resources for future exploration in the solar system. Also, class's planetary landing team studies the physics of how rocket engines interact with the regolith on planetary surfaces, particularly how the exhaust erodes and changes that surface. I know that's a whirlwind tour of our research, but for any of you that's interested in possible graduate student opportunities, we do have faculty with possible openings in the fall of 2021. Those faculty include Dr. Chris Bennett, Dr. Dan Britt, Dr. Addie Dove, and Dr. Theodora Karolidi, and so please contact them if you're interested. And finally, if you need to know further about what each one of those faculty do, please check out our website at https:/planets.ucf.edu. You can also email us at planets@ucf.edu, and please check us out on Twitter.
Okay, so we have Professor Campings. His research field is Planetary Sciences. So I think if you have questions about this research field, you can ask.
And I would like to update a little bit what Professor Donaldson Hanna said in there. The OSIRIS-REx spacecraft did collect the sample on October 20th, and we got a lot of sample. Actually, we seem to have gotten the most sample we could have hoped for. So our minimum was going to be 60 grams, and estimates range up to 8 to 20 times that. So we don't know exactly how much we have because our canister was so full, we decided to stow it immediately before we would lose some of that material by a few particles that were escaping. In any case, we successfully sampled the surface of asteroid Bennu. We will be heading back to Earth soon. And so Dr. Donaldson Hanna and I are both on that science team of the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft. And soon we will have these samples on Earth to do all kinds of analysis in the lab, which one cannot do, at the spacecraft. So we're very excited about that. Any questions about the planetary group or about any of our research areas?
Thanks for the explanation, for the updates. Do you any question about the planetary sciences? I guess we don't have many astronomy students here. Okay. All right, so then we'll move on to the next research field.
Hello, everyone. I am Professor Ellen Kang, and I work in Biological Physics group at UCF. It is my pleasure to introduce our program to you in this short video clip. So our group is actually called Soft Matter and Biological Physics group, and our group consists of 5 faculty members. So we have Dr. Bo Chen and Dr. Aniket Bhattacharya and myself, and Dr. Alphonse Schulte and Dr. Suren Tatulian. Dr. Chen's group is focused on structure-function correlation of protein assemblies by solid-state NMR. His group also utilized transmission electron microscopy as well as molecular dynamics modeling with cryo-EM. His current projects include assemblies by viral capsid protein, amyloid beta protein that implicated in Alzheimer's disease, as well as reflectins that modulate the animal skin color. Dr. Bhattacharya's group is focused on theoretical and computational soft matter and biophysics. Specifically, his lab is focused on understanding how biopolymers like DNA interact inside in a nanochannel as well as nanopores. And that has application to DNA sequencing. And his lab also studies self-assembly in soft matter, in particular morphologies, dynamics, and effects of micelles, membranes, and vesicles. And Dr. Schulte's group is focused on dynamics and microspectroscopy of soft matter, and his group's main research topics include phase separation in soft matter, microspectroscopy of biomaterials and cells, and chemical and structural characterization of nanoparticles. His recent work is focused on understanding how mesoglobal formation under like a pressure jump is also showing like a phase separation. Dr. Tatulian's group is focused on understanding protein and membrane biophysics. And his group utilizes tools like a total internal reflection infrared spectroscopy. And also his group is interested in studying physical mechanisms of interfacial enzymes. So the interaction between the enzymes and membrane. And his group also studies structure of a membrane core formed by peptide monomers and amyloid beta protein, the structure details of those disease-causing proteins. And lastly, I'd like to introduce what my group is working on. So my group is called Molecular Biophysics and Nanobiology Laboratory, and we are interested in understanding the fundamental mechanisms that regulate the mechanical, structural, and physical chemical properties of actin cytoskeleton that is essential component of many eukaryotic cells, especially in complex intracellular environments. So we are particularly interested in studying those filament assembly kinetics and mechanics and structure, and how the filaments interact with actin binding proteins inside the cells. And lastly, like how these filaments respond to external mechanical and physical stimuli in, again, like a complex intracellular environments. And we utilize tools like a total internal reflection fluorescence microscopy, as well as atomic force microscopy in collaboration with faculty in the physics department. If you want to know more details, then you can check out our website. So with this, I will conclude our program introduction, and thank you for watching.
Hi, this is Professor Madhav Newpen. So today I'm going to talk about the research work conducting in condensed matter physics at UCF. So in condensed matter, so we study the properties of solid and liquid by means of various approaches. The sample we study are two-dimensional materials, energy-related materials, topological quantum materials, and others, and we study their nanotransport property, nanomagnetism, nanocatalysis, their superconducting properties, their surface science properties, and semiconductor physics. So the main goal of our research is trying to find the potential technological application in semiconductor electronics and laser, in plasmonics, in quantum computing, in medical imaging, in magnetic and optical storage system. So the overall goal, we are always trying to find out exciting novel application and advancement in emerging technology. So some of the faculties also conduct their research work in various national and international laboratories. For example, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, LBNL, Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, SLAC, Brookhaven National Laboratory, BNL, similarly Paul Sauer Institute, PSI, Switzerland, Hiroshima Synchrotron Radiation Center, Japan, and the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory, Tallahassee. So here I saw a lab, spectroscopy lab at UCF Physics Department, also low temperature USB scanning tunneling atomic force microscopic system located in our department. Similarly, in the bottom, you can see that outline for in situ characterization of electrocatalysis. Similarly, multi-chamber USB surface science setup. So here I describe the various subfields that our faculty is working in condensed matter physics. So for example, Professor Cherniak, so he leads a group in large gap semiconductor. Professor Chow, his work focuses on synthesis and characterization of thin film. Professor Del Barco, an experimentalist, so he works in molecular magnet, transistor, and spintronics. Similarly, Professor Fang, Professor Kaden, and Professor Vaida, all are experimentalists, so they work on catalysis, surface science, and ultrafast dynamics. Similarly, Professor Shigami is an experimentalist, so he leads a group in scanning electron microscopy and nanomaterial. Professor Peel, she works in infrared emitter, detector, and spectroscopy. Professor Kandakar is also an experimentalist, so he works in electron transport in nanomaterials. Professor Klein, he is a theorist, he works in the superconductor and superconducting properties. Professor Lack, he is an experimentalist, so he works in quantum cascade laser. Similarly, Professor Nakajima, he is an experimentalist, he works in crystal growth, strongly correlated materials. Similarly, myself, I work in topological quantum materials and spectroscopy. Professor Silling is a theorist, he works in electronic structure heat transport. Professor Tatar, she is an experimentalist, she works in atomic force microscopy. Similarly, Professor Rahman, Professor Kara, and Professor Stalberg, so they are theorists, so they work in electronic structure, surfaces, and catalysis. So if you want to know more about condensed matter physics research at UCF, so you can visit the link given below. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Cheney. I'm an associate professor in the physics department at UCF, and I conduct physics education research, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the opportunities in physics education research here at UCF. On the screen, you can see a picture of myself and the other physics faculty at UCF, Dr. Zhangzhao Chen, as well as some of the graduate students, undergraduate students, and postdocs who have worked with us recently. Dr. Chen is an assistant professor, and we both lead well-funded research groups. We've both won, for example, the National Science Foundation Career Award. And to highlight a few of the successes of our students and postdocs, in the center upper part of the image, you can see graduate student Brian Zamaripa Roman, who has won the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship, as well as the McKnight Dissertation Fellowship. Erin Scanlon and Tong Wan in the center of the picture here are both postdocs who worked with me, who have recently moved on to academic positions. Dr. Scanlon is an assistant professor in residence in the physics department at the University of Connecticut, and Dr. Tong Wan is an assistant professor in the physics department at Westminster College. On this slide, you'll see a summary of some of the research projects that the Cheney Physics Education Research Group works on. We're really interested in tailoring research-based instructional strategies for diverse populations of students, instructors, and institutions. And we've specifically looked at disability as a dimension of diversity that doesn't get a lot of attention in the STEM education research community, especially at the post-secondary level. We've done this in a few ways. For example, we've explored the knowledge about disability that is held by physics mentors, physics instructors, physics research group leaders, to see how the way that they view disability may limit the opportunities for people with disabilities to participate in the physics community. And we plan to engage in educational opportunities with the physics community to expand their knowledge and their ability to support diverse people to participate in their research groups. So for example, we've looked at what sorts of ideas physicists have about different types of diagnoses and how those may impact individuals. But we've also thought about describing our own, everyone's abilities in terms of different dimensions and looking at how popular instructional strategies place a load on those dimensions, with the idea that we should be varying which loads are taxed within our instructional sessions. Another way that we work with physics instructors and graduate teaching assistants to develop their teaching skills is through the Mixed Reality Classroom Simulator Teach Live that you can see displayed on the screen here. This provides instructors an opportunity to practice challenging pedagogical skills without harming real students if they make a mistake when working on those skills. Dr. Chan's research group looks at developing flexible online curriculum and assessments. So they use data mining to look at how students interact with lesson modules, and then they use what they learn about how students engaged with those modules to design evidence-based instructional materials and methods. And this allows students to move flexibly through curricula. So if they are already have an idea set, they don't need to spend time on that assessment. They can move on to more challenging material. Thank you very much for listening to our video. I hope you consider applying to the University of Central Florida. And if you're interested in learning more about our opportunities in physics education research, please reach out to myself or Dr. Chen at the email addresses here.
Okay, I think it's already past 7. So I just wonder, do you want me to continue playing, or I can share the video with you after the presentation, after the meeting? So what would you prefer?
Nathan, I'll defer to you. But,
okay. So
I was just gonna say, I think, you know, we have plenty of channels we can share this video through. If you can get us a link or something, I think it would probably be more beneficial to just hear any final thoughts you have.
Okay. Yeah. So far, so I can share the video, no problem, and the rest of the video is about, as you see on the screen, interdisciplinary research, and also about the bridge program. In the video I share with you, I probably will have the AMO program that the introduction of AMO program that I pre-made add into this. And then you'll have a full video clip of all the research areas. So far, do you have questions? Any questions, like, you know, even question not about the research and about what kind of a student's life here? Since I'm new here at UCF, so my observation may be limited, but I can tell you about maybe the weather and the surroundings in the campus. And also other, I mean, I'm familiar with faculty members in AMO program, and if you have questions. And also if you have questions later on, you can always email me. I include my email in the abstract, and also you can find my email address online at the website of physics department at UCF. And you can send me any questions if I cannot answer, like the question is not about my research field, it's about like solid state physics. I can forward your question to the faculty members, I think, who will have the answers for you. Does that sound good? Okay, let me stop sharing here. Hi, any thoughts?
Personally speaking, that is a truly lovely amount of information. I know that, especially this year, grad school is for a lot of us a pretty major concern, and I just appreciate the sheer amount of information that you guys.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. This is the purpose of this meeting, of the presentation. We try to provide as much information as possible. I wanted to say that at the UCF, this is my observation after I got here. The department cares a lot about students, including graduate students and undergrad students. So you will find that faculty members are very friendly, and the research programs here, we have strong programs, and we also have you know, a variety of different research areas, as you have seen, and including the interdisciplinary research. which I haven't had the time to play the video clip. But you will see later on after I share the video with you. And I'm just interested in, like, when you select, okay, just for who are in the audience, are you interested in applying for graduate school?
I know I am. I'm a senior, so I'm going through that whole application process right now.
Okay, so during the process, when you choose schools to apply, what is the major factor? Well, what are the major factors you consider when you decide which schools to apply to?
First order would be professor's research, research in the department. So, and then, you know, I wouldn't be lying, or I'd be lying if I said that location of some schools didn't affect things.
I think it's totally rational if people say, oh, I care about locations. Of course, you know, you're learning, but also you need, you know, as a human being, you live a life. You know, enjoy the entire experience as a whole thing, a whole experience, which includes both the academic experience, research experience, and also, you know, just daily life. That's why at the beginning I included a few slides, introduce the Orlando, the city, and also campus, and to give you some idea what kind of life you can have and what is the, you know, some of the fun things you can do. All right. No questions? Okay. It's thank you for the opportunity to present this. And I think it's I'm glad that you find the information useful. And if you have questions about the programs or research, again, just email me.
I will definitely make sure that this information gets into the hands of as many of our members as are willing to open any of our information channels.
Okay,
thank you
great.
very, very much. This has been
you.
a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think it's important. The information I provide here is only part of it, and we don't have so much time to get to the details. And I would, I mean, even if you don't plan to apply to UCF, for other application to other universities, it's important to contact the faculty members to get more information about their research and what kind of research they have for your PhD or master degree program research. I think it's important the communication is important when you apply to graduate school ahead of time.
Definitely.
All right. Okay. Thank you again. And I hope you all have a good evening.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.